Alright, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about intro statistics. We'll talk about mean, median, mode, and range. What that means, we'll define it, and we'll put some examples. It's pretty easy to do, and you're going to follow along with me. I want to start with some definitions first. It's a workout. We'll start with our mean. Our mean can be defined as our average. You would call that otherwise known as average. Or we could say it is the average amount. When you say mean, you're also talking about the average. So if I give you 10 problems, 8 for homework each night, 10 problems, 8 problems, 7 problems, 12 problems, 15 problems, 20 problems, 8 problems, 7 problems, 9 problems, 11 problems, 14 problems. On average, I give you about, we'll say 11 problems of homework when you take all those together. On average, you can say. Now, that's not every night. Some of you get less, some of you get more, some of you get just 11. But that's an average, and we're going to talk about how to find that in just a minute. So let's go through and talk about finding the mean. Step one, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get a set of numbers. So step one would be to add up all the numbers in your data set. And a data set is just a set of numbers, and I'm going to give us an example of one right now. This is a very common lesson that we use. So I'm going to just use this as a random set of numbers. I'm going to write it on the board, and you're going to follow along with me. So in this pack of Skittles, which I'm going to put out right here, we have, this is a really good one. Cool.
Oh,
we have, let's count them up for me. In this pack of Skittles, we have, and let's count them up and we're going to see what we're looking at. So we have, I'll put color. Orange, we have 4. I want you to write this down as well. Yellow, we have 5. Green, we have 6. And purple, we have 1. So we're going to do the first step, which is adding up all of the numbers in our data set. So total number of pieces of Skittles, we have 16 total Skittles in one pack. 4 plus 6 is 10, 5 and 1 is 6, 10 plus 6 is 16. That's step one. Add up all of the numbers. The second thing we need to do is we need to divide. Divide by, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky, we need to divide by the number of numbers. Or, I'm also going to say categories. Because here we have 4 different colors. And each color is a category. Each color is a category. Now, let's say you had, not these, you just had a set of numbers. We had 4, 5, 6, and 1. We would add them all up and we would divide by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different numbers. So you're dividing by the number of numbers. I have 4 numbers, so I'm going to divide by 4. In this case, I have 4 categories or 4 numbers, so I'm going to divide by 4. So we have our 16. We have our 16, and we're going to divide it by 4, and we are going to get the final answer of 4. But what does this 4 mean? When I say our average is 4, what does that mean? So in our example, this 4 represents that we have, on average, 4 Skittles per color on average. Now, as you can see, this is definitely not always the case. But on average, if we were to always get these, on average you would have 4 Skittles. Some being a little bit more, some being less. But on average, we have about 4 types of 4 Skittles per color, per category. So that's how we find the mean. We want to add them all up and divide by the number of numbers. Now, we lost some Skittles somehow. I'm not sure where they went. That's going to change our number. Now we're going to get into median. Median is known as our middle. We talk about median, we're talking about the middle value of a set of numbers. There's a few ways to find the median, but the first thing we need to do, the first thing we always need to do when we're finding median of our set of numbers is step 1. I'm going to put this real important here. You need to list your numbers in order from least to greatest. This is where I see the biggest mistake when finding median, is you forget to list your numbers first in order from least to greatest. So let's come up with the number set right now, and then we're going to go through and see what the answers are. So I have a deck of cards here. I'm just going to pick some random numbers. 4, 3, Joker, 7, 10,
Yeah.
10, 9, and 5. List these right now in order from least to greatest. Alright, I think I got it. So what we want to do now is we want to find our way to that middle number. The number that sits in the middle. And I like to use my fingers and just move my way in, taking out one number on each side at the same time. I can also cross them out, and that's what I'm going to do right now so you can see how I make my way to the middle. So I have 2 pieces of chalk here. I'm going to stand here and go these 2, move in 2 more, move in 2 more. My middle number, my middle value is 7. Now, what if there was 2? What if there were 2 middle numbers? Because the number of values was even. So let's say we had 6. Let's say instead of this 10 here, we only had 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 7, 9, and 10. Well, our 2 middle numbers would be 5 and 7. So you need to find the number that is in between 5 and 7. Let's say that it was 5 and 6. The number in between 5 and 6 is 5.5. Now, an easy way to find the number in between these two, you can put them on a number line. You can just use a number line to figure out what goes in between the two. Or you can use this method, which is to add them together, 5 plus 7, and then divide by 2. When we add 5 and 7 together, we end up with 12. When we divide 12 by 2, we end up with 6. And 6 happens to be directly in between 5 and 7. Now, you don't need to do that if you know that, hey, 6 is between 5 and 7. But let's say it was 7 and 9. 7 and 9 added together. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Let's say it was 7 and 14. 7 and 14, add that together, you get 21. 21 divided by 2, you get 10.5. So 10.5 is halfway between 7 and 14. Now we're going to be on to mode. In mode, what that is in a set of numbers, your mode Mode is the number that shows up the most. So let's take a different set of numbers. Excuse me, appears the most. And see if we can find the mode. For our class, there's going to be a mode, or you also have the option for there not to be a mode. Let's make a list of numbers right now. 5, 9, 10, 4, 5, and 8. So, show me with your fingers what our mode is. That's exactly right. High five. Self five. It is 5. 5 shows up the most. Now, if you had a set of numbers where one number did not show up more than the others, there would be no mode. Sometimes there's more duplicates. There's 2 5s, but maybe there's 3 4s. Well, there's this 4 has the most. 4 would be our mode. Now we're on the last thing. The last thing I want to get into is the range. So in a list of numbers, your range is the key word here, difference. Now difference, as you know, has to do with subtraction. It is the difference between your greatest value and your least value. So your greatest value and the least value. Let's look at a set of numbers. Six, 4, 11, 12, 3, 9, 21, 8, and 7. Our greatest value in that number category is this 21. That's our greatest. Our least value in this number category is 3. That is our least. So we're going to take the difference of the two, 21 minus 3, and we're going to find that between our least value, or lowest value, and our greatest value, our number of least value, and our greatest value, there is a range of 18. That means if you're going to go on a number line and go from 3 to 21, you'd have a range of 18. That's how we find our mean, median, our mode, and our range.